It is Shark Week here on The Early Show in partnership with Discovery. We start off with a look at the people lucky enough to survive a shark attack. The warm waters off Florida got a little too hot Friday for this lucky surfer who floated right over a shark while he was trying to paddle back to shore. He was not hurt. But on Saturday, a woman snorkeling off Hawaii was not as lucky. She was attacked by a tiger shark.
She got out of the water, and then I noticed she holding her hand, and there's blood just dripping right next to her.
The snorkeler was seriously injured in the attack, but will survive. Thanks in part to the movies, beachgoers panic when sharks are spotted offshore, but the chances of being attacked by a shark are slim. According to the International Shark Attack File, there were a total of 71 unprovoked attacks worldwide last year, with only one fatality. On average, about 1/3 of all shark attacks happen in the waters off Florida. Joining us now are several shark attack survivors who will be featured on Day of the Shark, which airs this week on Discovery. In LA is Todd Endress. With us here in New York, Andrea Lynch and Kyle Gruen. And in Baltimore, to give us some tips on how to avoid an attack, is shark expert Andy DeHart. Good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Andrea, let me begin with you because you have your arm in a cast. We have to start off by explaining that is actually not from a shark attack. But you were attacked 1 year ago in Sarasota. You went night swimming.
Yeah, I was out with some friends at night to see the bioluminescence, and I was floating on my back, and a shark came up from underneath me.
And bit you where?
In my torso, kind of around my rib cage and into my hip.
What did you do?
Freaked out a little bit and swam, got back on the boat, and kind of in all the commotion, we lost our dinghy, which we had used to row out to a sailboat. And so we had to call 911, and they sent a rescue boat and got me to the hospital.
How bad was the bite? I mean, you're swimming on your back. You didn't sense anything.
No, didn't see it. Even with the bioluminescence, we didn't see it. Nobody heard it. We didn't see it afterwards either. And yeah, basically it just, it didn't do any major damage. It just got into my skin and a little bit into my muscle, but missed all my major organs.
You got how many stitches as a result of this shark bite?
A little over 200, my surgeon
Whoa,
said.
and doctors said you were lucky to be alive.
Yeah, if it had bitten me anywhere else, it would have been a lot worse.
Did you beat it off?
No.
It just kind of took one bite and
yeah,
moved on?
Yeah, it took one bite, kind of shook me around a little bit, and then moved on. I didn't see it. I was not looking for it at that point.
You were too bony, thank goodness, I bet. Kyle, let me turn to you, because you were off in Hawaii, there for a wedding 2 years ago. What happened to you?
Basically, I was just out doing a workout. We'd got into town the night before, and so woke up the next morning. By about lunchtime, we hit the beaches, and we went, we were basically in Kihei. There's 3 beaches that go along there, Kamilulu 1, 2, and 3. And I was there with my brother, and I ended up swimming out maybe 100 meters, 50 to 100 meters or something like that offshore, and then started going parallel to shore and just doing a workout, basically working out the bugs from the flight in the night before. And a shark came out of nowhere after about 10 minutes of swimming and bit me from below and got my leg and my hand at the same time.
What did you do?
I think it was all fight or flight reflex kind of stuff. Like I ended up spinning towards it and I jerked my hand away, and that kind of tore my hand up pretty bad because it had it all in the same bite. Oh. And as I spun towards it, it kind of rolled off my leg and ended up tearing the outside of my leg a bit. So.
And then it swam off?
Yeah, it was basically, I guess it just did kind of a test bite type of thing. So it swam off pretty much when I spun towards it. It was already kind of turning away to swim away from me. So.
How big was it?
It was pretty big. I think they said it was anywhere between 6 and 10 feet. My guess, I mean, I saw it when it was about this far away from me, and it was wider than I was. So I don't know. The last thing I saw was it kind of turning away.
And you swam to shore by yourself?
Yeah, I did.
And then what happened?
I got myself basically really close to shore, and I was still at about 20, 30 feet out on a kind of volcanic rocky reef, and some people actually came out to help me, and I was kind of bleeding everywhere, and it wasn't a pretty sight at that point. Some people actually came in the water that last 20 feet and got me out. Tourists, actually. And then the lifeguards showed up, an ambulance and all that kind of stuff.
And doctors had to do what to you?
Luckily, when I was in Maui, there was a hand specialist plastic surgeon that was there basically right at the hospital right when I got there. And they had to put my hand back together, reconnect the tendons. And then there was a pretty massive gash on the outside of my leg that they had to fix up, and a bunch of gashes up the inside. But it was the gashes on the inside that were the most dangerous, because that's where your arteries are, and that's where I mean, if it had hit the artery, I think there was one that was 2 millimeters above and 4 millimeters below, and if it had actually hit the artery, that's where
You would have been a goner.
game over. Yeah.
Wow. All right, let me turn to Todd. Todd, you're the only surfer in our group. Tell us about your shark experience. Where was it and when was it?
It was on August 28th of 2007 in the Monterey Bay of California.
And you're out surfing, and what happened?
I was out surfing with 4 friends of mine, and literally out of nowhere, this giant shark came and punted me out of the water first, didn't fit me in its mouth on the first attempt, and then came back 2 consecutive times and really did a number on my body.
What did you do?
Wow. Well, the first time he bit me, he sandwiched my torso and my surfboard together, and I couldn't really do much. You know, you can't really do much to a 15-foot shark. And I was trying to hit him, and then he let go of me, and I was actually treading water then, and he came back and he latched onto my leg. Actually, my right leg went down his throat. And he was, I suppose, trying to pull my leg off, and I was kicking him in the face with my left leg. And then for some reason, an act of God or whatever, he let go of my leg, and I started to swim towards the beach when my buddy Joe looked at me in the eyes and said, grab your surfboard, and I turned around, saw that it was still attached to me, and I put it under me, and we both caught a wave in together. I wouldn't have made it if he wasn't there. I definitely would have swam in and continued to bleed and died in the water.
Wow. Let me turn to Andy DeHart in Baltimore. Andy, what should someone do if they are attacked by a shark? Just start beating it like silly, or what?
That certainly will help. Their nose is very sensitive. They have a lot of sensory organs on their nose. They have little gel-filled pores called ampullae of Lorenzini. If you pound on their nose very hard, oftentimes they'll let go. You can go for punching them in the eyes, or also their gill slits are very sensitive as well.
Oh my goodness. All right, I've heard that night swimming is when, like Andrea here, she was doing, that's when the sharks are most prone to attack. Is that accurate, and if so, why?
We really recommend people avoid dusk and dawn. Dusk and dawn are the times when sharks are most actively feeding. Nighttime is difficult because people who are swimming or scuba diving can't often see the sharks coming at that time. But generally, dusk and dawn are what we tell people to avoid.
Wow. Todd, I just want to end on your story in the final seconds. Dolphins were involved, not only your buddies, but dolphins were involved in you getting to safety. What happened there?
Dolphins definitely saved my life, and I owe everything I have to them. They encircled me and protected me from the shark coming back for a 4th attempt. But you can go to ISARF, that's ISARF.org, and read all about it. And I also have a book coming out in the fall about those dolphins and what they did to save my life.
Todd Endress, Andrea Lynch, Kyle Gruen, and Andy DeHart, we thank you all for sharing your stories.
Thank you. Pleasure.
For much more on sharks and Shark Week, go to our website at earlyshow.cbsnews.com.